So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining this important session. I hope you will find it useful and there'll be a number of key takeaways from this. So the topic today is Reboot Your Immune System. This is an event organized by the Sri Lankan Business Council and presented by Ms. Kiru Kishokumar. Before we start off, just a few things to mention. So as always, so this webinar is being recorded, as you'll notice. And the format of the presentation would be that we would have a quick introduction from the chairman, Mr. Suren Swaminathan, and then we would move on to the presentation itself. At the end, we'll be having a Q&A session. So if any of you have got any questions, please put them through on the chat box, and we will have them answered within a few minutes, hopefully at the end. And if in case we are unable to answer all of your questions, you could then send it to us and hopefully we can have them replied over. So let's start off. Mr. Riza Muhammad, past chairman, would you like to please make an introduction of Kiru?
First of all, warm welcome everyone on behalf of the Sri Lanka Business Council. We have over the past 2 years spoken a lot about stress, rebooting ourselves, anxiety, immunity, etc., etc. So, and then as Business Council, we have always found reasons to be positive, and we have always been positive. And now it is quite maybe we can safely say that we're almost coming to the end of this Corona season, I would call it. So this is probably a good time. We thought that we can get one of our own, Kiru Kishokumar, who's an expert in kind of giving suggestions and advice on how to reboot your immune system. Probably something which is, we are all looking for ways to do it, and we need to do it in order to get back to our own self after this 2 years of dull period. Kishu is a pharmacologist certified in integrative nutrition, and she's an intuitive practitioner, and above all, she's the founder of Reboot Health. We will get to know more about Kiru and her competencies and the support that she can give us in the next probably 45 minutes or so. So this is not a time for me or us to talk today. We have to listen to Kiru today. So without any further delay, I would hand the podium over to Kiru. Kiru, over to you.
Hey everyone, good morning. Can you all hear me well? Just give me a thumbs up if I'm loud and clear. So it's a pleasure to be with you all today. And well, first of all, I wanted to thank Mr. Suren Swaminathan and the SLBC organizing team, to bringing this together. And I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Just give me 1 second.
Kiru, I think you should get a little more closer to the mic, I think.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, even a little closer would be better, but I think this is okay.
Okay. Is that better now? I'm just having an extra mic. So yeah, is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so as you all may know, we're going to be talking about how to reboot our immune system. But before I jump in, I really wanted to start by congratulating every one of you who had made time to be here today, because, the choices that we make are the hinges of our destiny. So when it comes to health is a matter of choice as well. So the fact that you had made time to be here today shows that you have taken the first step in choosing health. So I really wanted to congratulate for that and welcome you all, and also thank you for being here today. As you all know, yes, we're going to be talking about immune system, and I'm actually going to take you through some science as well. So basically, when you talk about immunity, immunity may have been the most spoken word over the last 2 years, right? And some of you may have experienced COVID, whether you have been vaccinated or even unvaccinated. And some of you may have been the ninjas who has dodged the entire variants for the last 2 years. So whichever the category you belong to, I'm sure you would agree with me. The moment you talk about these viruses, there have been always a hidden stress and a hidden fear, right? So what I really want to do today is to come to you guys to share my expertise and knowledge, and also give you the science-based tools that can help you to take control of your health. So for the next 45 minutes or so, I'm going to bring you the science, give you some basic explanations about immune system. You know, immune system is going to be really a complicated system, and I'll be boring you to death if I talk a lot about that. So basically, what I'm going to do is to give you a little bit of understanding about the immune system, and also I will talk about what kind of habits that you may be having which will weaken your immune system. And then we'll go into the tips and tricks, or even tools rather, that you can apply immediately in your fast-paced life to strengthen this immune system. And I'm also going to be talking about your mindset and how you can change this mindset and bring you some, again, a little bit of science behind that as well. So this is kind of a structure that I'm going to take you through. What I wanted to also say is, I mean, I know this is a webinar, but you know, I really like to have interaction. So feel free to turn on the cameras, and if you find anything that I say resonates with you, you can always communicate on the chat. You can raise your hands or give me a thumbs up so I know you're there with me. And if you do have questions, as it was said, please share it in the chat and I will certainly answer those for you. So when we look at us, we humans, we are self-healing machines, and your body has its own intelligence to protect itself. So there are many things that happen in your body right now that you may not know, and you may not be even thinking about it. You're not giving any instruction. So I'm going to give you some general examples. For those of you ladies who are out there, you know, who had given birth, you know, when there's a fetus forming in your womb, you don't need to give instructions to your body, right? You don't tell your body, okay, now you have to predict the fetus. Now the limbs have to grow. No, right? The body has its own intelligence to do that. So let's say you have a cut in your hand. Do you ever look at your finger and say, hey, you stop bleeding now and start healing? No, right? Your body knows how to stop that bleed, clot the blood, and start healing. And let's say you have fever. So fever, what do we do? Fever is kind of a way where our body is trying to protect us. It raises the temperature when there's a pathogen, let's say virus. It raises the temperature to destroy that virus. But what do we think about fever? Fever is nuisance. We want to suppress it. We want to have quick medications, right? So, I mean, the problem here is we whatever the first, I'll tell you another example. Think about the time that you were ill. What was the first thing that you did? You can put it in the chat. For most of you, is to go for a pill. That's what we've been taught, because when we are taught to do health from outward in approach, but it should be the other way around. So no, you must understand. I am not saying medications are bad. I'm not saying you should not go for medications. You should. I'm a pharmacologist, so I know the value of medications as well. All what I'm saying is we need to have the knowledge as to how our body is functioning to protect us. And when you do that, you could choose how to do this properly in terms of whether to go for a medication or not. So all I want to do is I like to encourage you to honor your body's natural healing process. Be aware of the immune responses. What are the immune responses? You have cough, you have fever, you have headache, you have fatigueness. These are signs that your body is telling you, hey, I'm taking care of you. I'm protecting you. So slow down, take a back step and acknowledge it, honor it, and help your body to come over it. So this is basically the reason we are losing power today is because of our current healthcare system as well, because it has become very mechanistic. So this is the basic understanding. I just wanted to give you some heads up. And if you look at the immune system, as I said, I'm not going to be going into great detail, but this is the basics. We have two types of immune system. One is innate, the other one is adaptive. So the innate is non-specific. It's a broad way. It's the immediate response that you will get as soon as something enters into your system, whether it's pathogens, bacteria, virus, or even a dust or any sort of foreigner. And this is non-specific. The other one is adaptive. This specific, and this develops throughout your life. So when we take vaccine, this is the immune system that's going to be activated. Or like measles, when we have chickenpox, we get this immune system activated as well. So these are the two different types of immune system we have. And when there is a virus in your system, it sends a message to your brain saying, hey dude, we've got a foreigner. And this foreigner needs to be destroyed. And then your brain sends messages to your immune organs to orchestrate an army against this virus. And this army are your T cells, your lymphocytes, your cytokines, your B cells, macrophages, your killer cells, right? And they go after these viruses and they destroy them. So the first thing you've got to have functioning in perfect condition is your brain and your nervous system, right? So this is the simple understanding about our immune system.
Sorry to interrupt, Kiru. There's a message on the chat stating that if you could please be a bit closer to the microphone so that you could be heard a bit clearer.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Is it better?
For me, it's fine, but I'm not sure about the rest.
Okay. I think, yeah, because yeah. Okay. Okay. And then let's look at what weakens your immune system. I'm sure you might be knowing already these causes. Stress is a biggie, lack of sleep, smoking, overconsumption of alcohol, lack of exercise, bad food, and obese. So I'm going to go into details of a few of these points, which I feel is very important. So The first one is stress and fear. And we all know about this, right? So I'm not going to go into the common points, but I really wanted to give you a little bit of explanation, understanding what exactly happens when you are in stress or when you're going into this fear mode. So this is very important because stress will suppress your immune system. You heard about this before, right? So here's how it's going to work. When you are at stress, your brain thinks that it's in danger. Remember, our body is structured in such a way to always protect us. It's always functioning to protect us. So when there's stress, we go into a state called fight or flight. So you either fight or run away. So your brain does not know that there is a real danger or it's just your imagination. Most of the time, our stress is because of our fear, what could happen in future, right? Our possible thoughts that causes fear and anxiety. But here's the thing, our brain doesn't know to differentiate that. Our brain thinks there is a danger. It's like it thinks that there's a wild animal chasing you. Let's say you're walking down the lane and you're encountering a wild tiger. What would you do? The first thing you will think is to run away, right? So this is the exact function that's happening in your brain when you're at stress, especially when you're in a chronic stress condition. And when this happens, your brain is focused in protecting you. So it's always focusing on increasing the blood circulation to the limbs so that you're fully filled up to run. Now, when you're at that state, let's say there's a virus entering into your system. Now, the message goes to your brain saying, hey, dude, I've got a guy. This guy needs to be destroyed. And your brain is going to say, I have something very important happening here. There's a tiger chasing me. I need to protect you. So let that be. This is exactly why your stress and fear and even negative thoughts, I'll tell you how it affects later, is going to suppress your immune system. So I'm actually all about science. So I really wanted to bring you a little bit of science for what I'm saying. And here's a study which was done in 1982 to 1992 in the University of Ohio, where they found that students' immunity went down every year under the simple stress, like a 3-day exam period, right? And another study in Mellon University laboratories, what they found is a social isolation and feeling of loneliness has caused the immune system to be weakened again in students. So this is something common, for especially people who had come far from home, away from the family, and being here in this part of the world. This is something common as well. And also there was a research done in depressed elderly people. They found fewer lymphocyte and T cells. These are your immune cells when they were in depressed mode. So these are the science regarding the stress, right? Now, the second habit that could change or weaken your immune system is poor diet. Now, when I say diet, I'm specifically talking about sugar. Sugar, when you say sugar, that doesn't mean that the sugar is not only the sugar that you put in your tea or coffee, but it also applies to all the hidden sugars. There are about 65 varieties of hidden sugars in our food. So like the corn syrups, the fructose, the sucrose, all these O's that when you read the label, if you find any words which ends with O's, those are your bad sugars. So here's what's going to happen. When you have these kind of food frequently, your glycemic index level is going to go high, which is your blood sugar level is going to increase. And when in that condition, your immune system is going to be suppressed by 40%. And this is going to last for at least 4 to 5 hours. So imagine if you're someone who is always eating sugar, and I'll take you down through some of the examples of sugary food that I'm referring to. And if you're having this quite frequently, eating 3 or 5 meals a day, imagine your immune system is going to be suppressed by 40%, and it's going to last for a couple of hours. And when that time, if there's an entry of a pathogen, your immune system is not going to be working at its utmost. High fructose corn syrup is what you find in your sodas, candy, sweetened yogurt, salad dressings, frozen junk food, breads, your bakery goodies, canned food, and fruit juices. And when you look at sucrose, these are like 50% glucose and 50% fructose. This is your grains, cereals, processed meats, sauces, and also Starbucks drinks. So if you're drinking Starbucks coffee all the time, you might want to consider this. So what is going to happen? I told you the basic what happens. Now here is the detail, how this sugar is going to affect you. It increases your oxidative stress. What does that mean? Oxidative stress is something that will cause you to age faster, lead to chronic diseases, inflammation, and even suppressing your immune system, right? So sugar will increase that. And it inhibits the enzyme that turns vitamin D into a bioavailable active form. What does that mean? So if we all know vitamin D is important to strengthen our immune system, right? So say we are taking some very good supplement, good quality supplement, but you're eating this kind of food, your body will not be able to absorb and synthesize vitamin D. So this is going to be another issue. And it inhibits glutathione. Glutathione is really important for cell repair and damage, and also prevent oxidative stress. And here's a cool thing. This is from latest science. Sugar coats the coronavirus and it camouflages it. So your immune system cannot detect it. This is latest science. And also sugar will allow the virus to occupy a receptor called ACE2, which will allow the entry point of the virus to the cells receptors like in your gut, kidney, lung, and liver. So these are the death problems that you can encounter when you are eating this kind of food frequently. So what kind of diet should you do? What is your tip? You first, simple, avoid sugar. So I actually put something called CRAB. It's an easy way to remember. C for carbonated drinks, refined sugar, artificial food, and processed food. Avoid the crap. And avoid fake foods. That's again the processed food. Eat more veggies. Veggies are rich in fiber. We all know that. I will go into the details of what is prebiotic rich food in a few minutes. And eat more fermented food. Fermented food is going to help your gut microbiome. I'll talk about it a little bit more, And the third habit that is weakening your immune system is going to be sleep. We all know that, right? We know when you're down with flu, we are always told to sleep well and rest. But I want to tell you why this is important. So when you sleep at night, our brain shrinks and your cerebral spinal fluid comes from down and it comes to your brain and it shuffles. By doing this, it energizes and nourishes your brain and detoxes your brain. So when you have infection, you want to be in deep sleep so that you can detox these. That means when sun goes down and when darkness hits, it signals your body to go into a massive repair phase, which is not autophagy. Again, I'll talk about autophagy a little while later. So during this time, your body will identify damaged cells. It identifies the virus, and then it just goes and destroys it, right? So typically 3 hours after the sundown, between 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., you get the greatest repair. We must understand there's something called a circadian clock within our body. And this circadian clock is always aligned with sun rays and sundown. So accordingly, our neurotransmitters are also functioning, the melatonin and so on. So when you get enough sleep, your stress hormones goes down. When your stress hormone goes down, your immunity goes up. So here's a tip. If you are someone who is stressed all the time, try to get more sleep, right? So there is a study that says if you go to sleep, you can wake up with better immunity. And they came up with this because they found that T cells, which are immune cells, will be more active when you sleep. And when the stress hormones are hiking up, it's going to be weakening your immune system. Now we know sleep is good. The next question that might arise in your head is like, okay, how many hours should I sleep? So 7 to 8 hours is really a good quality sleep time. And again, science have found that when you have minimum of 7 hours of sleep, your immune system will be effective at least 3 times more. So this is very important. Now that you know sleep is important, how do you get enough sleep, right? One of the biggest problems is when you're at stress, you cannot sleep, right? I'm sure you can relate to this. When you're stressed, you're waking up in the middle of the night, or you're in bed, but you just cannot fall asleep. And this is because if you don't have a balanced gut microbiome, this is your gut bacteria, you cannot have enough melatonin to calm you down. Melatonin is a neurotransmitter that will put you to sleep. And avoid blue lights. If you're using laptops before you go to sleep, or if you're on the phone, which is very likely for many of us, you're going to disrupt this melatonin as well. So what can you do? There are blue light blockers apps on the phones that you can get on your phones, or use something like these kind of glasses, which I use. This blocks the blue light and it will help you getting good quality sleep. Eat 2 to 3 hours before you sleep, because when you have a full stomach, your body is not going to be able to focus in repair and rejuvenation. It's going to focus in digestion. So you want to make sure that you're not overloading your body. Heavy metal toxins. This is a very big issue. Heavy metal toxins can be accumulated in hypothalamus pituitary as well as your pineal glands, which will interrupt your melatonin. And another bigger issue, when you have stress all the time, you can wear off your adrenals. And when that happens, when you are sleeping in the night, your blood sugar level goes down. When your blood sugar goes down, your adrenal gets alarmed, thinking, oh my God, the blood sugar is down, I need to fix this, and it just ends up flushing out more cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone. And this is why you tend to wake up in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. If you're waking up 2 a.m., 3 a.m., this is most of the time, this is the case. And here's a tip what you can do. Try to include good fats. Good fats are like your avocados, nut butters, or even seeds, or olive oil, MCT oil in your dinner. And then in that way, good fats will help your body to balance your blood sugar level. So it will not allow your blood sugar to drop drastically, and you can overcome this issue as well. And get deep sleep. Now, this is very important. Some of us may be sleeping 7 hours, but not getting deep sleep. So here's a way you can track. There's something called Aura Ring. you can wear while you sleep, and it will tell you how much deep sleep you're getting. Or there's something called Whoop bands that you can have, or even in Apple Watch, they have features where you can track whether you're going, what kind of sleep, whether it's a REM sleep or if you're getting deep sleep. This is very important, especially if you want to strengthen your immune system. So that's basically the habits that's literally weakening your immune system. And I'm going to give you some extra tools now. Very simple. These tools doesn't cost you money, and you can certainly incorporate in your busy schedule. The first one, you can get outside in the sun. So sun energizes T cells and it synthesizes vitamin D. Somewhere around 10 to 15 minutes, unprotected sunlight is what I'm talking about. So what is unprotected sunlight? Avoid any sunblocks and try to be exposed to, so that you get the skin directly. The sun is hitting your skin directly, and the best timing is around 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if your shadow is longer than your body height, that means your body cannot make vitamin D. So whichever the way, depending on the country you're, you can make sure that you're exposing yourself enough. And especially if you're working indoor all the time in front of the computers, try to go out for a break and get yourself exposed. Look at the sun in the morning. That will help you to also bring up the melatonin, as well as help you on the synthesizing vitamin D. And second part would be physical activity. Now, when I say physical activity, I'm actually not saying, I'm not telling you to go and run a marathon or work out hard in the gym. It's not like we're going for hours and also working out. A simple 20 minutes walk or a HIIT training or even a jog would be good enough. All what we need is frequent ones, consistent. So at least 10 minutes. If you can't contribute 20 minutes of your time, just start by doing 10 minutes. And preferably, if you can do it first thing in the morning for a 10 minutes walk, that'll be perfect. And take care of your gut microbiome. Now, let me give you a little bit of understanding about gut microbiome. We have trillions of bacteria living with us, and they are in our gut, and there we have bacteria on our skin, we have bacteria in our mouth, and these bacteria are not only there in our gut to help us break down the food and absorb nutrients, but they're like the first line defense army. And you know, these bacteria will influence your mood. It influences even your thoughts, your characters, how you will take decisions. These are the neuroscience, and it influences the food cravings. So what happens here is, when you look at the immune system and this bacteria, gut bacteria, think about your immune system like a defense ministry. And your immune cells are like the missiles and the tanks that are loaded, which are your T cells, B cells, all the killer cells, right? And the good gut bacteria is like a general. If you don't have a good bacteria, your immune cells are not going to be led in the right way. So here are some ways that you could destroy these bacteria. Number one, of course, the food that I mentioned will kill. A dose of antibiotic will certainly destroy the good bacteria. And very common one these days, many have been overly using antiseptic, and we are not only killing the bad bacteria, we are also could have killed the good bacteria as well. And toxins, pesticides in our food will destroy our bacteria. So now, how do we get this back? First, prebiotic food. These are your greens and veggies. You need at least 5 to 6 varieties of greens and veggies every day to feed these bacteria. Because remember, we have 6,000 varieties, and they feed in different types of food. So you need to be feeding them. And now if you have lost them, you need to bring them back. For this, you can add kimchi, sauerkraut, fermented veggies, kefir, kombucha. All these things are going to be favorable for probiotic food, which will bring you more kind of new bacteria into your system. And polyphenols food are like raw cocoa, berries, green tea, olives, and grapes. So here's a study that was done related to the gut microbiome and also immune system. In 2003, they had SARS, and it affected most of the countries like Hong Kong, mainland China, as well as Korea. And
sorry to interrupt you again, but there are a few messages again that your voice is not very audible. So,
can you hear me? I don't know.
Can everyone please send us a reaction or a reply on the chats whether you could hear well or not? So depending on the majority, then you could decide to proceed or if not.
How is it for you?
I think you were okay, Kiru, all this time. After a while, I think your voice is dropping a little bit, so you need to continue to be closer to the mic.
I'm actually using this.
Yeah.
So
okay, now it's better.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Okay, so I think quite a few messages are coming that it's clear and it's fine. So let's proceed.
It's good?
Yeah.
We're good to go. Okay. So what they found in Korea, Koreans were less affected by this SARS pandemic. And what the research found is because they were eating a lot of kimchi. Kimchi is a fermented cabbage, and it has Lactobacillus plantarum, which is produced in large quantities along with other substitutes of the other ingredients, which literally suppressed the viral reaction. So this is why I'm encouraging everyone to go into fermented food. And this is another simple tool. I'm actually, this is one of my favorites. Fasting is my lifestyle. I teach people how to fast well, and we all know about intermittent fasting, but here's a key. When it comes to immune system, science says that you've got to be metabolically active. What does that mean? Now, we can run in two types of fuel. One is sugar, the other one is fat. If you are someone who is eating all the time, and if you're eating the bad food, or if you're eating carb-rich food, you are going to be a sugar burner. So in this zone, you're more, you can easily be infected because your immune system is going to be low. You have a tendency to gain weight faster. You age, you have chronic disease and inflammation when you're a sugar burner. What we need to focus now is to become a fat burner. So when you become a fat burner, when your body shifts from a sugar burning fuel system to a fat burning fuel system, that's when the miracle happens. That's when the healing happens. And this is why we always encourage people to be in and out of this system, to be metabolically active. And when you're in a fat burning zone, your body is going to have ketones. Ketones are the sign that your body is burning fat. Now, what is autophagy? When someone is fasting beyond 15 hours, with 15 to 17 hours or up to 72 hours, this is a one extra mile beyond intermittent fasting, you get to a beautiful stage called autophagy. Autophagy is a word which was introduced by Dr. Osumi in 2015, who won a Nobel Prize. And what happens here is when you don't eat food at all, your body's inner intelligence wakes up. And your cells will go, oh my God, it's 15, 16 hours, I'm not getting food. What do I do? So the cells looks around and says, I need food. And they start eating up all the bad cells. the cells that don't serve you anymore, damaged cells, virus and pathogens, and it destroys those cells and make your other cells stronger. This is a self-detoxification inbuilt mechanism that we all were born with. And this is really important in order to suppress or be active against this virus. And according to the latest research, it has been found that COVID-19 virus can literally suppress our autophagy intelligence. So that means we need to do more and more of these fasts in order to keep our body active. Manage stress and positive mindset. So basically, I'm sure we all know we have to change our mind, we have to be in the right mindset and everything. But here's another important thing. Did you know frustration and anger can shut down your immune system nearly for 24 hours? So that's a bigger aha for me when I started reading this research. And feeling better about the future might help you feel better for real. So study done on law students who were more optimistic about their future showed they had a stronger immune system. So that means thinking positively. The reality, despite of what your reality is, you certainly can be healthy. This is the science. I'm going to give you a quick live trial with me, if you may, and I'm going to show you how powerful our mind is in influencing and changing our physiology and even the chemistry in our body. So you all are all looking at this lemon. I'm going to take you through a quick live trial with me. If you may close your eyes and just imagine that you're holding a lemon in your hand, about to eat. Look at that lemon. The lemon is very soft. It's gorgeous, and you can smell the lemon. It's a ripe lemon. It's gooey and it's soft. And now you're going to open your mouth and take a bite of that lemon. You're chewing that lemon. The juice is coming into your mouth. You're feeling the taste. You're taking a big bite, you're chewing it, and the juice is coming into your mouth. Open your eyes. How many of you had saliva in your mouth? You can share it in the chat. Raise your hands. How many of you felt it? Did you have a lemon? Did you really eat a lemon? Huh? What do you think happened? We didn't have a lemon. You didn't eat a lemon, but you tasted it. You had saliva, right? So this is exactly our mind. Your brain believed that you're eating a lemon. Imagine if this simple thought can influence a quick change in your saliva. It's not only saliva. Saliva was the first instinct that we understood. But the moment the saliva is secreted, all your enzymes are ready to secrete, expecting you're eating a lemon, right? The whole system changed. Imagine if that is happening to you every single day in a negative way, right? So because your mind believes you, here's the thing, your mind does not care whether it's right or wrong, whether it's good or bad, whether it's healthy for you or unhealthy. It'll just take what you put in, right? So how do we manage stress? So if we know that our mind is influencing us, and if we know that we can, by changing our thoughts, change the reality, change our immune system, and even manifest our desires, how do we get about doing this? First one would be meditation. Now, when I talk about meditation with my clients, they come to me saying, oh my God, please don't tell me to sit in one place for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I really don't have time. Here's the thing. If you can sit for hours, that's amazing. But meditation does not need to be in that way. Meditation can be done when you walk. Meditation can be done by watching your kids play, looking at the flowers in your garden. If you have a fish tank, just when staring at the fish tank, these are meditations. I'm going to give you an example of what we do. So it's what I call walking meditation. I mean, we do it at least twice a week. There's a place nearby a place where we go for a walk, and it's kind of nature where we have trees and what we do is I go with my husband, but we don't interact. I don't take any music. I don't take my phone. All I do is just go for the walk. And sometimes we run, but most of the time the walk, paying attention to the birds, paying attention to the water droplets on the grass tip, paying attention to the flowers. And that's a type of walking meditation. Here's another way of you can do walking meditation. Just concentrate in the steps that you take and keep. Nothing else. Don't think about anything. I must say it's all come with practice. So you may, if you're doing it for the first time, you might find your mind wandering around. Just bring it back and just focus on the steps that you take. And in this time, with practice, after a while, you can start visualizing the future that you desire. And science says the more you do that, you can even manifest your dream life. And here's another way to manage stress. It's gratitude. I'm sure you guys know about gratitude. But the problem here, how do we apply when especially things are not right? In reality, your bank account is negative. In reality, your career is stressful. In reality, your problems are still bigger than what you think. But how do you be in that gratitude mode? It's quite challenging, right? But I'm going to give you the science here. When you are in the state of gratefulness, and if you do it just for 4 days, for a few minutes, the science says that it can increase your immunoglobulin A, which is a very important defense army. So the simple way to start getting to practice with being gratefulness is choose a time that you can sit in for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Think about 3 things that you are grateful in your life. It could be the time you graduated. It could be the time you had your first baby in your hand. Whatever it is, just visualize it and be in that present moment. And then just check your joy level. We should have a visual joy meter and see where the joy is. The more you practice, the more consistent you do this, despite of your reality, you will see yourself smiling. You will see there's an inner peace. And in that moment, you can heal yourself. You can manifest. I'm going to share my personal story, how I lead my lifestyle and how I teach people as well. But before I share that, I also wanted to share a latest research, which I was attending in a webinar a few weeks back from Santiago University, released by Professor Hemal Patel. He found that advanced meditators who had been meditating any form of meditation for more than 6 months, that they can bring down the COVID rate infection by 8%. They also found that there's a new protein called Serpin A5 that will be created through your DNA modulations when you meditate, which can block this virus. So this is new science, all by meditation. So what I really wanted to share here, my story is, I'm practicing what I share with you. And there was a time in my life where I was not having enough time for these kind of things. Even my health was the last thing in my agenda. And last month, with all what I'm learning and with all what I've been practicing, I did have a stressful time because of my work and because of my personal challenges with the work and stuff. And because of that, my immune system was suppressed and I ended up having shingles. It's kind of a viral infection and it is all reacted because if you have chickenpox sometime in your life, this viruses stay dormant in your nerve endings and it gets activated if you are stressed or if you're exposed to direct sunlight. So because of stress, I was getting these shingles and I did have a webinar within a week or two, but my one part of my face was infected and it was swollen and I cannot be present for my clients. Of course, viral infection, we don't have medications. So the docs were saying, yes, it's going to take time, maybe a few months. It doesn't. And I was in severe pain with nerves. So all what I did was, I know the medication there's no medication to cure this, but I know what I just shared with you. So I went into my meditation and I just didn't accept that it's going to take 2-3 months for me to heal. All I did was I focused in my gratitude and the gratefulness and started tapping into my intuition through meditation. And I started healing myself. And the miracle was within 1 week, my face got cleared. I do have before and after pictures, and even the doctor was surprised that how was this face cleared within a month, within a week. So this is, if I can do this, you can do this as well. So this is a great example how you can heal yourself especially when you know there is no help coming out from outside. Lastly, quick tricks for boosters. Basically, there are supplements. I'm sure you know vitamin C is important, vitamin D is important, and zinc, you can get it from natural source like the whole meats, beans, nuts, and whole grains. And chiropractic adjustments. If you feel you need a chiropractic adjustment, go and get it done. It truly helps your immune system as well. And biohacks, I love biohacks because these are all something that you can try. Infrared sauna, hyperbaric oxygen, ice bath. If you can get an ice bath and get into your ice bath, that will boost your immune system. And red light therapy. These are ways that you can biohack and get into a stage where you can strengthen your immune system. So that brings me to the final slide. You are more powerful than you think. And health is a state of complete harmony, mind, body, and spirit. Remember, we always been trying to do health with few tools, either with diet, either with physical activity, or fasting, or medication. There's something called energy body, and we always keep missing it. And it's really important. That is our mind, our emotions. There's no point in you trying to achieve health with few tools and neglecting your energy part of your body. When you can bring a beautiful marriage between these two bodies, that's when you can have a holistic health. I hope that I have covered most of your questions. And if you do want to connect with me, here you can find me in all the social medias. And this is my kind of contacts. And if you do have any questions, reach out to me. I would love to answer those. Follow me on Instagram. And if you have any questions, you can reach me on Instagram as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can go for the questions.
Thank you very much, Kiru. I think that was a very insightful and very useful presentation. Yes, indeed, we need to reduce the crap, increase our vitamins, reduce our stress levels, do more exercise. There's a lot of takeaways, I guess, for most of the people. So I think when we have an issue with our laptops or machines or computers, the best way sometimes is to restart. And when there's no other way. So likewise, I think rebooting our immune system will be a great thing for our bodies. So before we move on to the Q&As, which there are quite a lot now, I see, Kiru. So let's try to get them in. I also see His Excellency, the Ambassador, Mr. Malraj De Silva, also on the call. And Mr. Chairman, Mr. Suren Swaminathan, would you like to say a few words? I'm sorry, at the beginning, I made a mistake. I would like to apologize for that.
Suren, you're on mute.
I think you're on mute. Yeah. So let me organize the questions in the meantime and have them answered by Kiru in a minute. No? Okay.
Yeah. This it's okay. This it was a good session, and thanks a lot, Kiru. And I want to acknowledge the presence of His Excellency, who has taken time off his busy schedule to be with us. His Excellency Malraj De Silva, the Ambassador of Sri Lanka to UAE. And also I see a lot of staff from the diplomatic mission and a lot of people who have joined from many other parts. So thank you very much. And I hope that you enjoyed the session as we did. And let's start rebooting now. So let's go on to the questions. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, so the first question, Kiru, that we've got is, what about fermented foods such as dosa, idli, etc.? Yes, some of these are food that we all love.
Okay, yes. Dosa, idli, yes, it is good because those are fermented traditional food as well. And of course, it's a good carb because it's not a bad carb because it's coming from rice and grains. What happens is you can certainly include it if you're in a clean eating habit. But if you're trying to go on a fasting and if you're wanting to manage your blood sugar level and if you want to do a detox, my suggestion would be to avoid even good carbs, like not avoid, minimize. So when you bring down the carbs and up your proteins and your good fats, your body, remember I told you about the sugar burning and fat burning mode? Your body will have a better tendency to go in search of those stored fat that you've been having for years. So it's not only going to help you to reset your, even help you stabilize your blood sugar level, but also if you want to lose a little bit of visceral fat, that stubborn weight, that's good as well. And other than that, if you like to have a clean eating habit, yes, dosa is good. But here's a key thing. Different fermented food have different types of bacteria. So remember, we have about more than 5,000 varieties, right? So it's always a good combination to bring in a variety of fermented foods. That's why I gave you kimchi, sauerkraut. Two of those, even those two, have different types of bacteria. So bring a mix, and it's always helpful.
Thank you, Kiru. Moving on to the next question. The question is, can liquids such as water be consumed during this 15 to 17 hour fasting? So I think it relates to the fasting slides which you were referring to.
Yes. So for autophagy fast, during your fasting window, you can have water, you can have black tea or black coffee in a moderate level. That will not pull you out of fast. Yes, so it's not a dry fast. It's not like Ramadan fasting. Autophagy fast is something where you're not going to consume anything that adds up calorie. So simple way is there is something called, we use with my clients as well, something called a keto mojo, where it's a small device where you can check your blood glucose level as well as your ketones. So when you do your blood test, and if you find after having a coffee or something, and if you find when you do a before and after test, If you find your blood sugar has gone up after having a coffee, that means it is pulling you out of this autophagy fast. So to answer your questions, water is allowed. It's not a dry fast.
Thanks, Kiru. So the next question is, I hope that answers the question. The next question is, does fruit juice include fresh fruit juice sans added sugar?
No. When I mentioned fruit juice, those are the ones you get in concentrated fruit juice, the Tropicanas and all those things. Those concentrated ones are the ones comes with hidden sugars. But if you're making fresh juice at home, that's good, because what happens is, yes, it's fructose, but it comes with a complex fiber. So that means it's not going to be the same effect as artificial fructose. So yes, make your own fruit juice is the best.
All right, thank you. There's a very specific question, but I'm sure quite a few people could be having different food intolerances as well. So let me just ask this. The person concerned is having a food intolerance for the past 10 years for eggs, milk, wheat, strong smells, antibiotic supplements, etc. And most of the things under the, most of the things under the sun, so most things she's been having a food intolerance on. And she says, your session has helped me so far. Thank you very much. And she's asking, taking probiotics and trying to get over stress is what she's doing. Anything else that you could suggest? So to get over food intolerance as well as for stress.
Yeah, so basically, first of all, if you have got this intolerance somewhere in middle time of your life, like if you were not born with this, then that could most likely, this is something related to your gut. And ideally, the best way, first option is to do a gut. There's a test called gut zoomer, where you do this test and it gives you a report of what kind of bacteria and what proportions you have. And with that, you can certainly identify what is the imbalance that is causing you this intolerance. And this intolerance can also be due to toxins accumulated. So it's sometimes not only related to bacteria. So if you have toxin accumulation, that could be also a case. And there's something called leaky gut. That is also something because of the bad choices of food, the pesticides and stress and all this hormonal induced meat, that can cause a leaky gut syndrome, which can also end up causing you intolerance as well. So what you do, if you can do the test, if not, here's the thing, taking probiotics is good, but if your body is not able to manage it, if your body is loaded with toxins, taking probiotic externally is not going to be helpful. You need to reset your gut. How do you reset your gut? Is I would suggest starting from scratch. It's like simple example. How would you start? If I give you a land without all the grass and weeds, and I ask you to start farming with veggies, what would be the first thing you do? You will clean the surface, right? You will clean the land. So it's the same way. Now you need to reset your gut. So first thing would be to avoid the baddies and see how it goes. And then go into fasting to reset. Here's the thing. Fasting is good, but I always recommend you going for such scenarios, you always have a supervision. You're doing it with the right knowledge. And when you do a fasting for 24 hours, it is known to produce stem cells. Stem cells causes repair in the gut, and 24-hour fasting is known to have new bacteria coming into your gut. This is one of the amazing results. I have personally seen results for myself, and I'm able to help a lot of clients globally through fasting, this is one of the easiest way to reset your gut. And personally, adding to this point, a few years ago, I cannot tolerate gluten, and I was not able to take dairy either. And it was for years. And then when I started doing fasting, when I started doing all these things that I've been telling you all today, I was able to get back on track because I was not born that way. So now I'm able to eat everything. Hope that helps.
Indeed, I think that's a very useful thing, given your personal experience and the detailed explanation that you've given. Quite a number of questions, actually, but we'll try to ask them within the next few minutes. And if not, we can have them answered subsequently. So the next question is, on the subject of sugar, you stated that this can hide COVID-19 symptoms of the virus in the system. Question, are you referring to a sugar-identified patient or a person who has a regular intake of sugar?
So I was referring to if you are eating those bad sugars that I mentioned all the time and frequently, and if you've been eating the baddies, the bad oil and processed food, yes, then this kind of sugar is found, especially fructose, the sucrose, those high sugar is found to suppress and camouflage this. In general, people who have diabetes, of course, they're going to have problems in insulin sensitivity, resistant. So, of course, their immune system is going to get affected. So, but I was talking about the general, normal person who is always consuming this bad sugar.
All right. Thank you very much, Kiru. So I hope that answers that question. If anyone wants to ask a question live, please raise your hand on Zoom and we will unmute yourself and you can ask that question. So whilst we have that, maybe Ram, if you could help me on that, please. So in the meantime, let me ask a few other questions which have come on the chat. There's a number of them. So there's a question which asks, will fresh oranges spike sugar? Is it healthy to eat oranges?
Of course, it's healthy to eat oranges. I believe what you meant, fighting sugar, means fighting diabetes. Is it? If you have insulin resistance, or if that's the case, of course, no, because orange does have high content of sugar. But a normal healthy person, yes, of course, it's much, much, much better to have fresh orange instead of orange juice, concentrated orange juice.
All right. The next question is anxiety related to stress? How do we manage or overcome it? I think it was answered quite a bit during the presentation, but is there anything else that you'd like to specifically add, Kiru?
Yeah, anxiety is certainly a part of stress, and also it's a form of emotion on your subconscious mind, that it's actually something that you have created because what being said to you, that you have taken it and accepted it from childhood. It could be something that your parents said. It could be something that happened to your friend, and you believed and you took it into your system, and your subconscious mind believed that's yours. You know how I was explaining how your brain believes. So anxiety is that. And also anxiety is to do with lack of self-confidence. So as I said, it's related to emotions and it's related to stress as well.
Okay.
And anxiety can come with fear. It's all similar connection, but of course, it's how you believe about yourself and the circumstances according to the environment that you are in.
All right. Thank you. There's quite a few more. So the next question is, what are the benefits of having a good diet, sleep, exercise, and lack of stress on those with chronic diseases?
Certainly, the chronic diseases is like, of course, anything related to mostly inflammation. So diabetic, or if cholesterol, pressure, all these things. And as I said, everything comes when you are a sugar burner, right? So the whole point here is when we are not metabolically fit. So if we are metabolically fit, then of course we can prevent these kind of chronic diseases. So to start with, food, going into clean eating, being aware of the baddies, getting right amount of sleep, yes, having the right moments, and all what I mentioned, and now most importantly, your emotions. Are you suppressing your emotions? Have you got any hidden emotions that you have forgotten, that you have buried in your organs, and your organs are now struggling to detox it because it's carrying somebody else's baggages? So these things we neglect. So everything together can certainly reverse your chronic inflammations and diseases. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So I don't see anyone who's raised their hands yet. So I guess there's no more questions on. And I mean, nobody who wants to ask their question personally, but there are a few on the chat. There's one more question here which asks, is it healthy to have a green tea or coffee after regular meal? So I think this is a bit of a discussion that I've also been following for quite some time. And then the question goes on to ask, we were told from our childhood that tea or coffee after the meal will destroy minerals and vitamins which we intake. So what are your comments on that?
Yes, you are right. What you were told is right. So basically, caffeine, as soon as you finish, I can speak for Sri Lankans, we have a habit, when you have a good meal, we like to have a black tea. And this is something that we all like to do, but unfortunately, it doesn't help in digestion. So even having a green tea immediately, as soon as you finish your meal, I wouldn't suggest, because it does disrupt, and caffeine does interfere with the absorption. So if you like to give a gap, maybe after about half an hour, 45 minutes, or at 1 hour. Even this is where, like, same as we like to not have a gulp of water as soon as we finish, or in between meals as well. So this is exactly the same. So have a gap and then you can have it.
All right. Next is, based on your experience, what is the single most stress causing factor in this fast-paced lifestyle?
It depends. Okay, based on my experience, single most for the last 2 years, COVID. Your COVID, the news. I personally, I really don't. I don't have TV at home because I don't like to have interference and negativity incoming. So still, we were getting all the news on the social media and everything. Yes, the biggest trigger is external factors, and it could be. And when you are in that zone, even a message from your dear one could stress you out. Here's another key is, I'm sure you can relate as well. When you have not finished your task, this happened to me very see somebody out there in the same field, same level, doing the same thing, but which you were supposed to be doing has already done. Looking at that can cause you stress. But that's a good one because it's an acute stress. We all need acute stress because that's push you to that somatic stress and you need that. But problem comes is when this stress becomes a chronic level where it's always there with you. That's when it becomes an issue. So yes, anything can trigger. It's like a blown balloon, a small break, it'll just break up.
So I think we're done with the questions. Yeah. So if everyone could please switch on your videos just for a few seconds.
Can we ask whether His Excellency likes to say something?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Maybe we'll need to unmute Ram, if you could please assist me on that. In the meantime, if everyone can please switch on your videos, we'd like to take a few pictures.
Anyway, thank you very much, Kiru, as well as Sri Lanka Business Council for organizing this. I think it's very important that to be healthy pre-COVID, especially pre-COVID situation. And of course, everybody got stressed with work and stress, how to control it. And also one more point is actually meditation helps a lot on stress controlling, because personally I have seen that I do it like an hour in the morning. Actually, it gives me a lot of mental strength. So other than that, I think your webinar was very useful for even though we know, but we didn't know that correctly. So now we know that how to manage ourselves. So it's again very, very helpful, and I think we should pass it to friends and families, as many as we can in our network, so that way everybody will benefit. Thank you very much again to all the participants too, because this gives courage to the speaker as well as Sri Lanka Business Council. So have a good day and be safe and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. So on behalf of the Sri Lankan Business Council, we'd like to thank everyone, particularly His Excellency and all individuals representing so many different organizations here, including Sahana. And we know what stress each of us and each of you have gone through during the past few months and years. And we'd like to appreciate you participating in this webinar. We will be sharing the recording of this session subsequently, so that hopefully it will be more useful for even hundreds of people as well who've not been able to attend the session today, given the weekend and so on. I hope there have been a lot of takeaways from this, and hope we could practice some of them and lead a healthy lifestyle, and hopefully looking forward to seeing all of us having rebooted our immune system at a next webinar. So this has been a series of webinars that we've been having during this COVID pandemic and so on. So hope you found it useful. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you very much until we say see you guys again at the next webinar. Thank you very much.